Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live weekly attorney chat. My name is Attorney Desiree Coger-Gustafson, a senior immigration attorney with Immigration for Couples. If you are new to our firm or new to our Facebook page, we regularly host these weekly chats to give people a little more information about current happenings with immigration, and also just to get some information on feedback that we're getting, questions that normally people have throughout our process during consultations, and the like. So feel free to like and share our page with those who might be interested. Also, we have a YouTube channel out there with more resources. We also have a whole bunch of videos on our webpage, immigrationforcouples.com. If you click on the resources tab, you'll find a whole bunch of information about that as well. So today, I'd like to talk a little bit about requests for evidence, or RFEs as they're commonly referred to, and relationship evidence. So it's a fairly common request for evidence that we get. So let's back up a little bit and just talk about when do we get to the request for evidence phase. And I have done at least a couple of videos on requests for evidence and what those mean. But essentially, you've already filed a petition. For the majority of our cases, that could be a fiance visa or a spousal visa or some other type of alien petition for a family member. It could also be a naturalization petition as well. We filed that, we've gotten a receipt notice, and then essentially USCIS has started going through that application. And they decide, well, we need more information to be able to adjudicate, to be able to decide on this case, what to do with it. So requests for evidence can be kind of scary when you get them, but they're not always a bad thing, because if you were ineligible for the relief that you are seeking from USCIS or the benefit that you're seeking, they would have denied your case right out the bat and not even sent a request for evidence. So I would look at it that way, but you definitely want to make sure you take it very seriously and respond to everything that's in it. So the first thing I would do is just take note of everything that's asked. Make sure that you know exactly what needs to be submitted. There's no breakdown. Usually they're not going to necessarily bullet point it for you. So you really want to make sure that you read it. I read them several times, and I'll read it again right before we go to submit to make sure that we've responded to everything that's in there. You want to take note of what they say that you have submitted, because a lot of times they'll give you a lot of information in those letters. And it could be that you just inadvertently missed something that you thought you submitted with your application, but you did not, or that USCIS did as well. They could have inadvertently just not received all the information. And also take note of the date that you need to submit that by, submit your response by. Sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's as long as 120. Just kind of depends on the nature of the evidence that they are asking you for. If you do not submit the answer to your request for evidence in whole or in part, they could just make a determination based on the evidence that they have, which they're submitting an RFE to you, kind of saying, we need more information to make that decision. It's not going to be a likely positive result, so I would suggest that you respond. Or they could just determine that you've withdrawn your application. So it's important to respond. So let's talk a little bit about relationship evidence in particular, because this is something that they do many times, frequently request information for more relationship evidence. And a lot of times what happens is, especially for our clients, the relationship could be kind of new, or especially with COVID and that kind of things, you kind of have to think outside the box about information or evidence that you can provide that would support that you are in a bona fide relationship. Obviously, kind of first tier, higher level evidence for us would be evidence that you've lived together, leases where that each party is named on the lease, accounts, bank accounts, even if those are foreign bank accounts. Having joint ownership of those bank accounts and showing that there are joint bills kind of coming in and out of that account can be helpful. Insurance, a lot of times people get even a free, $1,000 life insurance policy with their employer. We will have people designate showing that their beneficiary is their spouse. That always looks really well, looks really good on an application as well. Occasionally we'll have people who have forward enough thinking to do wills and have those people named in wills. Sometimes those predate even a marriage or a wedding. So that's obviously first kind of tier information. Then what we would kind of consider second tier relationship evidence would be some of those probably more practical things for fiance visas and just your day-to-day WhatsApp messages, logs of calls that you have received, maybe receipts from visits that you've had, airline tickets to meet. And if you do meet, photos with things in the background that are maybe notorious for that particular area, receipts from dinners that you went to, celebrations that you may have had. We try to show a period of time. So if you say you've been dating for 6 months, then let's see a couple of seasons in those pictures as well. So sometimes you have to really think outside the box with regard to relationship evidence. And I will say that our standard is to overdo the relationship evidence or overdo any type of evidence if you get a request for evidence, just to make sure that they aren't making a decision on a lack of evidence. And because sometimes it's the last chance you get to kind of support your case with USCIS, especially if you don't ever get to the interview phase, which is kind of what you're trying to satisfy here. Is let's satisfy enough information for them to make a decision so we can move to that interview phase. I hope this has been helpful. If you are watching this on replay, please comment #replay. If you have found this helpful and you may know of someone who is in this situation or would find this helpful as well, please like, comment, share. Also see our resources page and take a look at our website and YouTube channel as well. Hope everyone has a great day, and we will catch you next week. I will be here on Thursday, same time.